Alright, today we're going to talk about the Pythagorean theorem. In order for you to take today's notes, you're going to need your composition book for notes and a pen or a pencil. So today we're going to talk about the Pythagorean theorem. Now the Pythagorean theorem states that in any right triangle, the sum of the legs squared will equal to the hypotenuse squared. Exactly what in the world does that mean? Well, in any right triangle, you have two parts called the legs, and you have a third part called the hypotenuse. Now, the cool thing is you can always tell the hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. So if it, oh, my highlighter is not the right color, so I'm going to change to pen. C is always opposite, the hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. So what you do is you take the leg squared plus the leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So let's take a look at one. Actually, let's stop there, hit pause, and copy this down. Okay, let's look at one. Let's look at the triangle below. If I take the leg squared plus the leg squared, it should equal the hypotenuse squared. So my legs are 5 and 12, and my hypotenuse is 13. How can I tell my hypotenuse? It's always opposite the right angle. So I'm going to do 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared, plugging in my a, my b, and my c. So what is 5 squared? Correct, 25. What is 13 squared? Yep, 144. And what is 13 squared? I'll give you a second so you can work it out. Hit pause. 169. So, no calculators, remember, what's 25 plus 144? 169. Does 169 equal 169? Yes! See how it works? Now this only applies to right triangles. Now we use this when we're missing a side. In this triangle, I'm missing my C. I know what my A and my B are. What are my A and B called again? Legs, yes. Okay, so in this particular problem, I am going to write down A is 6 and B is 8 and square them to equal C squared. So 6 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. What's 6 squared? Perfect, 36. What's 8 squared? Perfect, 64. What's C squared? That's what we're trying to find. Okay, what is 36 plus 64? 100. Now, 100 isn't telling me what C is. 100 is telling me what C squared is. I need to know what two numbers will multiply together that give me 100 exactly. And each number has to be the same. So, think back to what am I trying to do? I'm trying to take the square root of it. So, in order to take the square root of your number, you find out what two numbers will give me 100. So what does C equal? 10. Perfect. Okay, so I want you to solve this one on your own. Hit pause and solve it. Okay, so in this particular problem, we have 7 squared plus 24 squared equals C squared. That's a big number. 49 plus 576 is C squared, which gives me 625. Now that's a huge number, but the 5s tell you a cool tool that it's probably a 5. So you can do 15 times 15, 20 times 20 isn't going to work, 25 times 25, and the square root of 625 is 25. How'd you do? Fantastic. So what happens when I'm missing a leg and not my hypotenuse? What do you think we're going to do? If you said subtract, you were right. If you miss a leg, you're going to subtract the two numbers. Now when you subtract them, the hypotenuse always goes first. So in this particular problem, I'm going to do 17 squared minus 15 squared equals A squared. Finish it for me. Hit pause. Okay, so 17 squared is 289 and 15 squared is 225. What's 289 minus 225? 64 is correct, but that's not my answer. What am I looking for? I'm looking for A, not A squared. So what would the square root of 64 be? Perfect. You got 8. 8 is correct. So now on this particular problem, I want you to copy this triangle down, work the problem and find my missing leg and bring it to class tomorrow.